Hi LEGO fans! It's time for another classic LEGO Harry Potter restoration speed build and review video. This is by far the most requested set review from the comments, so I think it's time to do some wizard shopping. Today I'm going to be dismantling, cleaning, speed building and reviewing set number 10217 Diagon Alley from LEGO Harry Potter. Despite being only 9 years old, this set has become very collectible. Back in 2011, this retailed for $150 or 133 Great British pounds. Today, mint in box, the 10217 Diagon Alley fetches a price of about $408. A used example like this would sell for about $317. The part count of 2,025 pieces includes 12 minifigures. We've got one of these skeleton dudes who appears in about 40 sets and is worth about $2. This version of Harry Potter appears in 3 sets and sells for about $5. Fenrir Greyback appears in 2 sets and is worth $8. Lucius Malfoy is a little more common and appears in 3 sets. He sells for around $5 to $6. Rubeus Hagrid is always a popular minifigure in this larger form. This version of Hagrid appears in 3 sets and he sells for about $13. The Goblin with the light blue legs sells for about $7 to $8, and so does the Goblin with the reddish brown legs. Garrick Ollivander the Wand Maker is exclusive to this set and sells for about $7. Also exclusive is this version of Hermione Granger and she sells for about $9. Next we come to the rock stars of the set. We get 2 Fred/George Weasley minifigures. Both of these are identical and both are very rare. Each one sells for about $32. Finally we have Fred and George's little brother Ron Weasley, who is an exclusive in this red tartan sweater. Because he only appears in this set, he's worth about $10. I could jump straight into the review, but this set has been on display for about 10 years and it's not in the best condition. Gringotts is looking more wibbly wobbly than usual, and there are definitely some missing pieces. Thankfully my parts collection is extensive and I'm sure we can make this good. The other issue we have is dust. Lots and lots and lots of dust. I can't possibly show it to you like this, so we're just going to have to break it down, give it a good cleaning, and then put it back together again. Before we can wash all of the bricks, we're going to have to take this apart. This is actually a lot more satisfying than you might think, and it's going to take about 30 seconds. So here we have 3 piles of very dusty bricks. I'm going to wash these bricks in batches to keep them separate and make my life easier during the speed build. I usually soak them in a solution of warm water and a biological detergent like Tide. This does a great job of removing all of the dust and grime. We then give the bricks a thorough rinse and dry them out on a towel. And thanks to the magic of video editing, here are 2,000 clean LEGO elements. I'm going to go ahead and rebuild set number 10217 Diagon Alley, and today this is going to be a 2-minute speed build. finally here it is, the one you've all been asking for, 10217 Diagon Alley from LEGO Harry Potter. It's so beautiful, I just wish I had 8 more eyes so I could take in all of its majesty at once. This is a pretty substantial set with 2025 pieces. As such, the build time was 4 hours and 24 minutes of pure Harry Potter building pleasure. Not only is there a whole host of detail on the front of the buildings, when you turn them around you'll find all kinds of interesting interiors. We'll be taking a detailed look around the interior and exterior of these 3 magnificent buildings. Gringotts Bank, Borgin and Burkes, which is technically in Knockturn Alley, and the magnificent Ollivanders, purveyor of the finest one since 382 BC. We'll also be checking out some surprises, including the contents of the vault at Gringotts, and some very cool glow-in-the-dark features. But I'm saving the best for last, and we shall be wrapping up the video with a detailed look at all of the minifigures. Diagon Alley, of course, is located in London in the Charing Cross Road area. It all starts in the early 1500s with the building of the Leaky Cauldron at number 1 Diagon Alley in the early 1500s. The second oldest building in Diagon Alley is rumoured to be Gringotts Bank, which we'll be taking a look at momentarily. Some theorists, however, believe that Ollivanders is the oldest building with records dating back to the early 4th century BC. The architecture probably doesn't support that theory, but it is a nice story. As Borgin and Burkes is technically in Knockturn Alley and not Diagon Alley, we'll start our journey here. Although this is undoubtedly the best LEGO recreation of Borgin and Burkes, it's not the first. This is set number 4720 Knockturn Alley from 2003. It's a 209-piece set and features a rather less grand recreation of the one-stop shop for dark magic artifacts. This particular example is mint in box, and I'm guessing it's probably going to end up in a future video. Located at number 13B Knockturn Alley, this is Borgin and Burkes. You can tell because the sign says so. Like Diagon Alley or Diagonally, Knockturn Alley is also a play on words. Change the intonation and it turns into Nocturnally. This is a reference to the fact that Knockturn Alley is shrouded in darkness. Established in 1863 by Messrs Caractacus, Burke and Borgin, the shop is tended today by Mr Borgin, a man with oily hair and an obsequious demeanour. As a bonus fact, if you check out chapter 20 of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, as a young man Tom Riddle himself worked as a shop assistant at Borgin and Burkes. The shop has a very old London Victorian look and feel, and some really nice architectural features. Borgin and Burkes is well known for dealing in dark items. With that in mind, we have a large bay window here, and as you can see there's a skeleton inside. I really like the curved canopy that hangs overhead and the contrast between black and dark green. It's also really nice the way the bay window is curved, and you'll see that technique used again in Ollivander's one shop. There is a working front door in case your business is not of too private a nature, and a large window which seems to be obscured by some kind of artifact inside the shop. We'll take a look at that in just a second. Around the side, and presumably in Knockturn Alley, we have a notice board with lots of different notices that are too small for me to read. I definitely see there is some big news, a missing notice, and at least one message which tells me to watch out. This definitely isn't the most friendly part of town. The architecture on the side here changes from black and green to grey and black. I really like the texture with the opposing ridgelines these 1x2 bricks bring to the side of the property. The other side is single story and seems to conceal some kind of fireplace or flue. Up here we have a rooftop veranda or terrace, and what could almost be the lair of poison ivy. To protect any witch or wizard who might come out here for a cheeky smoke on the pipe, we have some railings. The supports are particularly interesting as they are made out of black skeleton legs. Very appropriate for Borgin and Burkes. The chimney is particularly elegant with 4 chimney pots and a cover, and it seems that you can turn this around for some reason. Maybe there's some kind of interactive function here. The upper story at Borgin and Burkes is particularly decorative. We have a dark green vine with purple flowers which actually looks quite nice. Next to the Borgin and Burkes sign we have a smaller window which is beautifully decorated. And then on top we have a delicate glass skylight. This is decorated at the front with some 1x2 tiles in a most unusual colour. I wonder what that's all about. Turning the whole build around exposes the interior of the shop. Here you can see the reverse of the minifigure skeleton and some more of those funny coloured tiles. Here you'll also find the other side of the chimney, which provides a useful alternate entrance for people who don't want to use the front door. How do, Harry? I wasn't expecting to see you here. The fireplace looks just the part with trans-orange flame elements, and I'm pretty sure this is part of the Flue network. It's a very convenient way to arrive and leave for people who don't want to be seen using the front door. Considering that Borgin and Burkes is meant to be crammed full of dusty dark relics, it's actually surprisingly empty. I think there was a bit of a missed opportunity here. This is a vanishing cabinet, and there's one just like it in the 4842 Hogwarts Castle. Spoiler alert, this isn't going to work out well for Dumbledore. The vanishing cabinet comes with opening doors, and what is that? I honestly don't remember there being an apple in here when I built the set. I wonder what that's all about. Moving up to the next level, I did think this might be some more display area for the shop. In reality, there's just a decorative window with no glass and a hole leading down to the first floor. Finally, at the top we have the decorative skylight, which is actually quite an intricate build. It uses pivoting elements to make an arch out of 6 stacks of windows. The whole assembly is hinged, which gives you access to the interior. This doesn't serve any particularly useful purpose, but it does expose a bunch of those funny coloured 1x2s. Can you guess what those do yet? Borgin and Burkes hides a rather interesting and fun secret feature. In order to show you how this works, I'm going to have to switch the camera to full auto and kill the lights. Here goes! Yes, we have some really cool glow-in-the-dark 1x2 elements around the bay window, and even more up here around the skylight. For some reason, not looking at you Reese Herbert, some of the 1x2 glow-in-the-dark tiles had disappeared from Borgin and Burkes. I couldn't find them, so I had to buy some on Bricklink, and they cost about 50 cents each. So that was the awesome Borgin and Burkes, and we'll be taking a look at some of the characters that would frequent this place later in the video. I'm looking at you Lucius, and definitely you Fenrir. Next we have Gringotts Wizarding Bank, said to be the safest place in the wizarding world, or at least if you listen to Hagrid. It was founded by a goblin called Gringotts in 1474 and is located on the north side of Diagon Alley. The motto of Gringotts Wizarding Bank is Fortius Quo Fidelius, a Latin phrase that means strength through loyalty. Like Borgin and Burkes, this is not the only LEGO version of the Wizarding Bank. Released in 2002, this is the 250-piece 4714 Gringotts Bank. The coolest thing about this is the minecart which takes people down to the vaults. This is on my to-do list, and I'm sure I'll get around to doing a review sometime soon. Gringotts also featured in microscale form in the 40289 Diagon Alley set from 2018. But there's no doubt the most impressive Gringotts so far is the 2011 version. This thing is magnificent. This has been on display for almost a decade, and despite the wash it still appears to have some discoloration. It's very slight and I'm not going to do anything about it yet, but at some point in the future I may do a video on retro brighting LEGO bricks. Banks have always been designed to inspire a sense of awe and security. Gringotts is no exception, with these huge doors which open up into the banking hall. We'll take a look inside in just a moment. The model recreates the imposing Gringotts Bank perfectly. There's a bunch of detail on the outside and perfect symmetry. Branding isn't really a big thing because Gringotts is reputedly the only bank in the wizarding world. It kinda makes me wonder where other witches and wizards around the world do their banking. On the ground floor we have fairly small windows with some nice architectural touches. I really like the reddish brown pole for the window ledge and those gold clips. I also like the sand coloured detail which wraps around the building and even onto the columns. It's also really neat that the lamps on the front are made out of sextants. In fact, from this angle you can also see some gold coloured studs hidden away. On either side of the doors we have these imposing Greek style ionic columns. I really like the scroll work at the top and the fact that these are mounted at an angle. Above the Gringotts sign you'll find more ionic columns and a balcony, although there don't seem to be any doors. The balcony is paved with the same reddish brown tiles that we find near the front door. The windows upstairs are a similar size but do have some arches and some really fancy gold trellis. At the top we have a pair of skylights which should come in really useful if you need to beat a hasty retreat on the back of a Ukrainian iron belly. Standing about 9 inches high and 9 inches tall, this takes up quite a lot of display space. Thankfully you can shrink it down just a little bit. The sides fold in, giving this a really nice square shape. It's also really nice that the skylights come neatly together at the top. Now we have a much more compact version of the Wizarding Bank, but we're going to have to open it up again to take a look inside. Before we do that, take a look at how nicely those two halves fit together. I'm not sure which LEGO designer designed this, but they did a really neat job. Architecture lesson done, let's take a look inside. Over in the corner of the banking hall we have an elevated desk where one of the goblins would sit writing up the ledgers. There's even a key in the corner to unlock the vaults, assuming they don't use magic or something. On either side of the door we have portraits showing goblins, which are presumably previous governors of Gringotts. This guy is bold and looks very different to the goblin minifigures included in the set. In fact, I wonder if these guys are even goblins. Just like the interior of Borgin and Burkes, there's not really a lot going on inside. I really think LEGO could have done a little bit more with this. Recreating the cavernous vaults that lie beneath Gringotts was obviously too much for this set. What we have instead is this vault, which I think represents the vault that Harry and Hagrid visited in Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. We can actually take a look inside. In fact, security is so lax at Gringotts so we can remove the vault and the roof of the vault so we can take a look inside. It seems we've got a gold galleon tucked away in the corner and some kind of stone. This is a really nice trans-red crystal like the ones we used to get in Power Miners. In fact, I think this may be the Philosopher's Stone or Sorcerer's Stone if you can't spell philosopher. I'm pretty sure there should be more coins inside the vault, but luckily I have some spares. These are really nice gold-plated elements and surprisingly easy to lose. They're not literally gold-plated, but you know what I mean. Another detail I must fix are those flames. The one on the left is a reddish flame and the one on the right is an orange flame. Thankfully I've got a bunch of these, so that should be easy enough to straighten out. The last detail I want to show you inside Gringotts banking hall hangs high in the ceiling. We have this rather fancy chandelier complete with 4 lanterns. This moves around quite freely, which should make Sia happy if she ever comes to Gringotts to bank her royalties. Gringotts truly is a magnificent centrepiece for this awesome Diagon Alley set. I'd love to see LEGO reboot this and other Diagon Alley shops on the modular building scale. That would be truly epic. Still to come, we're going to be taking a look at the magically magnificent marvellous minifigures that come with the Diagon Alley set. Until then, I think it's time to go wand shopping. Thousands upon thousands of young witches and wizards pass through the doors of Ollivanders, widely acknowledged to be the best wand maker in Great Britain. Garrick Ollivander is a descendant of the original Ollivander, who it's believed arrived with the Romans. Ollivander's wand shop is pretty much as described in the book. Narrow and shabby with peeling gold letters over the door which read Ollivander's makers have fined wands since 382 BC. We don't quite have all of the words on the LEGO version, but we do have a stickered element which proclaims this to be the wand making emporium Ollivanders. The architecture of this set is absolutely stunning, and I love the Tudor style overhang of the upper floor. This really helps to conjure up an image of Victorian London. The front of the store has 2 large bay windows which would be perfect for displaying the store's wares, although Ollivanders is not known for its window displays. The 2 bay windows are curved and have some really nice gold details. I also like the use of textured 1x2 bricks which look like painted timber. Around the corner on the side of Ollivanders we have a wanted poster. This is a really fun detail and shows a criminal wizard in a stripy sweater who is being sought out to pay for his crimes. In the books, Ollivanders' displays are described as consisting of a solitary wand lying on a faded purple cushion in the dusty window. I guess that explains why there's nothing exciting on view here. Above the now not so dusty windows you'll find really nice architectural details, including some more gold accents and some decorative scrollwork. In the alleyway on the left hand side of Ollivander's wand shop is an unexpected canopy. I don't really know what this is all about, but I'm guessing it might be there to keep the London rain off some Diagon Alley food vendor's head. The interesting thing is that the canopy uses Gryffindor house colours. That would be a great tribute on the part of Mr. Ollivander, except for the fact that he was sorted into Ravenclaw. Go Ravenclaw! The brickwork at the side of Ollivander's shop is particularly interesting and has a kind of haphazard, or I guess rustic appearance. Just like the lamps hanging on the outside of Gringotts, the light source above the door of Ollivanders is also made from nautical sextants. The architecture found in the second floor of Ollivanders is also stunning and includes another 2 bay windows. I love the use of sand green slotted 1x2 bricks to add texture to this Tudor style build. Looking all the way up to the tippy top, the roof of Ollivanders consists of 2 pitched roof segments in this unusual but very elegant blue colour. On each side of the building we also have a small window with gold coloured lattice shutters. The architectural detail found in Ollivanders is stunning and rivals some of the build techniques you'll find in modular buildings. The threshold to Ollivander's Wand Emporium is marked by a single black door. I think this may be our cue to venture inside. According to J.K. Rowling's description of Ollivanders, the shop was tiny except for a single spindly chair in the corner. Thousands of narrow boxes containing wands were piled up to the ceiling of the tiny shop, and the whole place had a thin layer of dust about it. I fear I may have washed away all of the charm of Ollivanders by giving it a wash. Starting on the upper level, it's clear the thousands of narrow boxes are missing from this LEGO build. But we do have a tea chest full of loose wands hidden away in the corner. The boxed wands on display can be found in the decorative shelving unit in the centre of the room. Especially impressive is the decoration. These are the Indiana Jones style whips, which I just don't think you get anymore. The actual wand boxes are stickered 1x2 tiles, although to be honest I think 1x3 tiles would have been a better option. Over in the corner you'll find a bunch of flasks, which seems rather out of place for Ollivanders. Maybe these actually contain wand polish rather than potions. Yes, that would actually make a lot more sense. Providing access to the upper level, we have this Victorian style library ladder. It's made from railing pieces mounted on the side and is very elegant. It certainly gives the shop a very oldie worldy look and feel. Moving all of the furniture out of the way gives us a closer look at the window displays. These are basic shelving units complete with a number of boxed wands. Instead of the thousands described in the book, we actually have 6 wands on display total. Another really nice feature here is the gold detailing above the door. This is repeated on the desk at the back of the store where Ollivander transacts business. It seems that Ollivander is an avid reader of Xenophilius Lovegood's quirky publication, The Quibbler. I wonder if he got his free pair of Rackspert glasses. As we've been poking around, you may have noticed an odd protuberance from the sales desk. I wonder what that's all about. I think it might be time for Harry to get his first wand. Give it a wave. I'm not sure that's exactly how it was meant to play out, but it's nice to be able to recreate those scenes from the very first movie. The interior of Ollivanders isn't exactly a picture-perfect recreation of the movie or the books, but it does however provide a very charming place for you to recreate scenes from the movies with the minifigures. The outside on the other hand does provide a really good recreation. It's just a little bit more neat and tidy and not so much narrow and shabby. Ollivanders also features in the microscale 40289 Diagon Alley set from 2018. Although the designers worked hard to recreate the bay windows, I really don't think they nailed it in this build. So that was the 3 magnificent builds from 10217 Diagon Alley, Borgin and Burkes, Gringotts Bank, and Ollivander's Wand Shop. But that is not all we get with this set. Oh no, that is not all. We also have 11 fantastic minifigures, or 12 if you include the skeleton in Borgin and Burkes' window. As well as the skeleton we have Harry Potter, Fenrir Greyback, Lucius Malfoy, Rubeus Hagrid, a goblin with blue legs, a goblin with red legs, Garrick Ollivander, Hermione Granger, Fred Weasley, George Weasley, and Ronald Bilious Weasley. This little guy needs virtually no introduction. It is of course the boy who lived, Harry James Potter. This version of Harry shows him wearing a blue jacket with metallic zipper and a white t-shirt. He appears in about 3 different sets from this wave and fetches about $5 used. The facial expression shows Harry with a wry smile and of course that lightning shaped scar hidden beneath the hair. There is an alternate expression which shows a rather more consternated Harry. Around the back we can see a continuation of the stripes which run across Harry's zippered jacket. It's a nice enough Harry Potter minifigure, but definitely not a standout from the set. Next we have lycanthropy afflicted biter of children, Fenrir Greyback. He also appears in 4840, The Burrow, you'll find a review of that on my channel, and he resells for about $8. The legs are standard full-length black legs, but the torso print is magnificent. Fenrir is rocking this Jeff Goldblum-esque open-necked shirt and a black jacket. As you can see, Mr. Greyback is quite the hairy fellow. As you'd expect with a werewolf, the face is covered in hair and we have some rather nasty looking fangs. The hair is pretty much what you'd expect, it's quite swept back and we have a widow's peak. There's no printing on the back of the torso, but it looks like we have a secondary expression beneath the hair. This time the mouth is closed, and if anything this makes Fenrir look even more menacing. It's a really nice minifigure and only appears in 2 relatively hard to get sets. I'm actually quite surprised how little he's worth given the relative rarity, but I guess he's not one of the A-list characters. Less rare still, and selling for about $5 or $6, is Lucius Malfoy. As well as Diagon Alley, he appears in 4736 Freeing Dobby and 4867 Hogwarts. No printing on the standard black legs, but we do have a rather elegant torso print. This shows Lucius wearing a shirt and tie with vest, jacket and cloak, complete with cloak clasp. Offset against Lucius Malfoy's long blonde hair, the black cape makes him look quite intimidating. It's one of these papery capes which are not very rare. The hair is a particularly nice element and wouldn't look out of place on a Disney princess. The facial expression is quite crisp and captures the signature Malfoy sneer. The secondary expression is a really nice rendering of the Death Eater mask. To complete the outfit we have a cowl which sits neatly over the top. Complete with Death Eater garb, Lucius actually looks quite sinister. Somebody who doesn't look sinister is this guy. This is Hogwarts Gamekeeper, Care of Magical Creatures Professor, and opener of the Chamber of Secrets, Rubeus Hagrid. He also appears in 4738 Hagrid's Hut and 4865 The Forbidden Forest, and he resells for about $13. Hagrid is very different to a standard minifigure and stands about a head height taller. He's not quite the giant described in the books, but he's still an impressive figure. Unlike later versions of Hagrid, the body and the legs are all one part. We also have a really nice torso print showing the many layers of Hagrid's clothing. In particular, I like the metallic metal belt buckle. One very unusual thing about these early Hagrid figures are the hands. Notice that Hagrid's hands actually have moulded fingers. They still work like normal minifigure hands, but this is a really unusual mould. Another really interesting feature of Hagrid are the large pockets on the coat. These are part of the mould and are very useful to a gamekeeper. The facial expression is very unusual and shows Hagrid with a broad smile. The hair and beard are combined into a single element made out of this rather squishy plastic. There's a little hole there for the mouth and another one for the eyes, and apart from that it's just a mass of black hair. Clean shaven and bald doesn't really suit Hagrid, so let's put him back together. That's much more recognisable. The only other detail I've missed is around the back of the body. We have some moulded stitches on the back of the jacket, and a tab where the 2 halves of the body snap together. Hagrid does come assembled, and you probably shouldn't try and pull him apart. Although 10217 Diagon Alley isn't explicitly tied to any of the movies, it's great to have both Hagrid and Harry to recreate the Diagon Alley scenes from Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Next we have 2 of the Goblin custodians of Gringotts Bank. These guys aren't specifically named, but I'd like to think that one of them is Griphook and maybe the other one is Gurnook or Bogrod. Apart from the colour of the legs, these are essentially the same minifigure with the same torso print. Each one of these sells for about $8. The torso print does look kinda familiar, and I have been scratching my head as to where I've seen it before. I was thinking along the lines of Bilbo Baggins from The Hobbit, but the truth was closer to home. It seems that Gringotts goblins get their clothes from the same tailor as Professor Filius Flitwick. Half-Goblin Professor Flitwick is from the 4842 Hogwarts Castle set, and yes, you will find a review of that on my channel. The torso design features a shirt with bow tie, vest and a short jacket. A little peek around the back confirms there is no printing on the back of these minifigures. What we do have, however, is a custom moulded goblin head. This is actually really quite creepy, just stare into those soulless dead eyes. One of the creepiest aspects of the design has to be the fact that we see moulded hair but no hair colour. It's the same around the back, we clearly have a bald head and then some hair around the sides and the back. But I've never seen a goblin in Harry Potter with flesh coloured hair, it just looks odd. Notwithstanding, these are an essential part of a serious Harry Potter collection. If you don't go out and find them, they will come and find you and steal your soul. Next we have fellow Ravenclaw Garrick Ollivander. He was played by the veteran actor Sir John Vincent Hurt, or John Hurt as we know him. I've got to say LEGO have done a really good job with the facial expression and also the hair on this minifigure. Garrick Ollivander is an exclusive to this set, but he does get a reboot in the 40289 Diagon Alley set from 2018. I've got to say I like the newer version a lot less than the older version. The hair on the newer version looks more like Doc Brown than Garrick Ollivander. The legs are standard grey minifigure legs, but we do have a really nice torso print. There's a ruffled shirt complete with cravat, vest, and then a brown jacket. The standard facial expression is really detailed, and I especially like the Victorian style mutton chops around the side of the face. The alternate print expresses true terror. You could use this to recreate scenes from the Philosopher's Stone where Harry is testing out wands, or equally to represent Mr. Ollivander when he gets kidnapped in the Deathly Hallows. There is a small amount of printing on the back of the jacket for the seams and the buttons, and you might notice the hair is not quite long enough to cover the print on the back of the head. Despite the relatively low resale value of about $7, this is a really nice Garrick Ollivander minifigure. He's also an essential component of a Diagon Alley set. Moving on to one of the A-list characters, we have insufferable know-it-all and mudblood Hermione Jean Granger. Did you know Hermione is actually the current Minister for Magic? Who could have seen that coming? It seems that Hermione Granger has been swapping clothes with Miss Ginevra Weasley. Although these are technically the same torso print, they are subtly different. Notice that the zigzag pattern across Hermione's chest is a little bit bolder than Ginny's. This combination of minifigure elements is exclusive to the set, and this version of Hermione resells for about $9. The pattern continues onto the back of the torso, where we can also see an alternate expression showing a very much more disconcerted Hermione. Well, I'd be pissed off if you put my head on the wrong way round. There have been many different facial expressions for Hermione, and this is definitely one of the better ones. If you want to take a look at 20 years of Hermione Granger minifigures, do check out my 4723 Diagon Alley Shops review. Next we come to by far the most valuable minifigures from this set. We actually get two of the same minifigure, and each of these represents Fred or George Weasley. It's kind of nice because you can show both of the facial expressions at the same time. The one on the left has a very broad grin, while the other one on the right is smirking. I believe the torso prints and the costumes overall are taken from Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. This looks like Fred and George after they've just opened up Weasley's Wizard Wheezes. Clearly they're doing quite well for themselves, and they've got rather dapper suits. I love all of the detail here, including the yellow shirt with red stripes and red tie. We also have a very stylish vest tucked underneath a clearly tailored suit jacket. You can see more of that print on the back of the jacket, and it definitely looks like an exclusive weave. The hair element is absolutely perfect for the Weasley twins, and you can't miss that Weasley red colour. These guys are exclusive to the 10217 Diagon Alley set, and both sell for about $32. That means that $64 of the resale value is tied up in just two minifigures. That is pocket change compared to the Professor Dolores Umbridge minifigure, which appears in 5378 Hogwarts Castle. She resells for about $90, but she's a story for another day. Finally, for the 10217 Diagon Alley set, we have 1-1. This is Ronald Bilious Weasley, and this variant sells for about $10. He's wearing this rather dapper and exclusive red tartan sweater. The print continues on the back of the torso and doesn't exactly complement the shoulder-length red hair. Redheads shouldn't really wear red. The hair itself seems to reflect Ron from the later movies, where he gets all stylish. We also have that kind of sheepish Rupert Grint grin. There is an alternate expression, and this shows Ron in a pure state of terror. It reminds me of the facial expression when Ron sees the spiders. As you can imagine, we do get a lot of Ron Weasley minifigures in the LEGO Harry Potter sets, but this is definitely among the most desirable Ronald Weasley minifigures that you can buy. I almost forgot to show you the skeleton from Borgin and Burkes. I don't have a lot to say about this because it's a pretty generic skeleton, but one thing I really do like is the wibbly wobbly arms. They always put a big smile on my face, just like his. The magnificent minifigure selection in this set definitely helps to boost the resale value. As I mentioned earlier, if you want to buy one of these Diagon Alley sets used, you're going to be shelling out about $317. But what a magnificent set this is when you put all of the elements together. Accessories which come with the set include this rack of wizard hats. Minerva McGonagall often wears the green one, but the blue one is a particularly nice colour variation. We also have a selection of owls for sale, as well as an upside down bat. It looks like owls cost 3 galleons, bats cost 2 galleons, and cats cost 1 galleon. I definitely don't recall seeing any cats in this set. There's also a sale on cauldrons, which are perfect for storing random fish. There's also a pair of Victorian style street lamps, and also other handheld accessories including a chocolate frog, the Marauders map, and a copy of the Daily Prophet. So that was set number 10217, Diagon Alley from the 2011 wave of LEGO Harry Potter. I know you've waited a long time to see this, and I hope it was worth the wait. This is definitely one of the more collectible and valuable sets from LEGO Harry Potter, but I do have many more sets like this in my collection and I'd love to know what you'd like to see reviewed next. As always, feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section below. Also feel free to point out any mistakes I made because trust me, YouTubers love that. I do hope you enjoyed this classic LEGO Harry Potter restoration, speed build and review video. If you did, a thumbs up is always appreciated as it helps to make the channel grow. If you're not already a subscriber, then what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button and don't forget to ring the bell for notifications. I'll be back real soon with another classic LEGO Harry Potter set. So thanks a million for checking out today's review, stay safe, and we'll see you on the next build video.